Hi everyone, this is Ray Moses for Swirly Doos Kit Club, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my second part of my Gatefold mini album. This mini album came in the project add-on for August 2015, and for the first part I showed you how I did the front, I gave you dimensions for the paper, and I showed how I arranged this for my first part right here for my cover, and now I'm going to show you how I did the inside. And for this video, I thought I would share with you some tips for making this kind of flat because it does have to close because it's a gatefold album. And I thought I would just kind of share with you how to make it flat and how to get the most out of your mini albums by making some interactive parts to it. So if you're a veteran of making mini albums, you may not find any tips that you can take. You probably already know them all. But if you're kind of new to mini albums, or if you just want to take a look and see what I think about them, then this video might be helpful for you. Last time I showed you that I used some chalk paint just on the edges here. It's not all completely blue, but it gives it that distressed look that I'm going for, and I really like it. So for this outside part right here for the cover, it's really simple. It fits 6 inches marvelously. And I've cut these up, so you need to have 2 different pieces, and they are 6 inches by 3 1/8, and that's going to go right there. I have inked this with Hickory Smoke Distress ink, and I've also used a distresser around the edges. So this part is the 6 by 3 1/8, and I just continued the piece of paper. Let me make sure I've got the right part. Yep, that's how it goes. And this part is also 6 inches by 1 3/4. So I will glue that down, and I've got the matching parts right here. Okay, so for the middle part, which is my first page, I'm going to use this piece of paper, and I've cut it down. I've cut 1/4 of an inch off both sides, so it's 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. And so I need to glue these down. I'll show you how to glue down this big one. I can do the rest off camera. I like to use zip dry. I know some people like to use score tape. I don't really like to. I like to have the give that you get with zip dry. And I don't go all the way to the edge, because if I wanted to maybe put some lace underneath there, I have that option for later. With the zip dry, I can move it around a little bit to where I get it exactly where I want it. If I use score tape, I have to do it perfect the first time because it's really hard to lift up score tape. So I just smooth this out, and that part's just really so simple. So I've done this with all of my pages, and you can see some of that craft is sticking out just a little tiny bit, but I still like the way that it looks. And when you're doing mini albums, there's not a lot of rules, but I like to match my papers when I have these pages. You don't have to do that, it's just something that I like to do. This is the top page of my mini album. So typically when I do a mini album, I either put a title or I'll put a picture in here. For this mini album, I'm actually going to be giving it to somebody, so I didn't put any pictures in, but I've put places for pictures to be. So one of my big tips that I like to say for mini albums is that when you have a bunch of colors like this Garden Fable line does, you want to incorporate all of those colors not only on the front but on the first page, and then you can kind of deal with this with the colors separately as the pages go on. But I kind of like how it looks in the beginning, where you kind of get a preview of all the colors that you're going to see. So for this part right here, I made this part really chunky. I used one of those Prima resin frames, and so it's pretty chunky. And I used a bunch of stuff from my stash. Like I said in the first video, Chrissy makes great project add-on kits, and they're a really great starting point. But if you really want to make your work shine, pull out all of your special things. Pull out things like this, like a resin frame, like these little pearls, and just make it very intricate. The more intricate it is, the more personal it is, and it looks better. So for these sides right here, I tried to keep them as thin as possible. I didn't make a lot of chunky stuff, especially on this part right here. This is just a memory box die that I cut out, and then I used some of these that are also from the Garden Fable line, which are not in the kit. So I used this resin frame, and I used some of the chalk ink in Blossom Bud, and that's also from Prima. And then I just kind of pulled out an older Prima vine and then added some of the Garden Fable flowers. And what else did I do? Oh, and this is a pretty fairy from Angelica's Etsy shop. And so I just thought that that captured exactly what I wanted to do for this album. So for this part, this is just the next page. I didn't do anything interactive here. Typically when I make a mini album, I like to have, if this is just going to say something, I want these to kind of be main pictures of the event. And what I did was, is I left some of this, and I used glue dots, not actual glue, so I could just lift these up and put the picture on. And then later, if I decide to add the pictures, in this case I'm giving it as a gift, I'll probably give a little bottle of glue so that someone can come in here and put their photos in and not have to worry about these embellishments. Then they can just take glue and really glue it down. And for the second part, oh, my little thing is missing. I'll have to put that back. I didn't survive the trip. Okay. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you is that when you're making pages, you don't want to put all of your embellishments in one spot, like right here and then right here. If you put something chunky, like this flower is kind of chunky here, I wouldn't put another chunky embellishment right here because then it will make it too thick. So if you kind of decide, okay, well I've got my chunkiness here and I've got some chunkiness down here, then you're good. Just so it makes it kind of level, and you can see how those ones close quite nicely. I don't do it on every page, but you want to make sure you do it on some pages. Again, I've got glue dots on here. This completely lifts up. This would be a great area for some journaling or a picture. Same thing with something like this. It pulls out. For this part, this is the interactive part that I think is really cool, is that what you can do is you can take a piece of paper, fold it over, and then use score tape in here. Not regular glue, but actual score tape, like this stuff right here. And so you make a pocket. So I actually used a punch right there just to give it some extra dimension. And then I have note cards. If you don't have note cards, you don't need to go out and buy them. You can go ahead and use some of the paper from the album, or even cardstock works. And so you can put those in, you can put photos on those, you can do journaling, whatever. And for this page, I've got room for lots of photos. So what I've done is I've cut these squares and I've used washi tape, and here's how I did that. And for my last spread here, I've got more interactive stuff, and I have this ripped piece of paper, and I've got this ribbon right here, and I'll show you how I did that in just a second. And then what I have also done is I've used some tags, and these ones actually came in the kit, and I used some of this fancy twine that I just wrapped up with a pencil, and those can go in there, and you can add more if you need to, depending on how many pictures you have, or if you want some more journaling. And that goes in there like that, and it looks pretty. And then just one last area for a picture. So this is the album complete, ready to give as a gift so someone can put in their journaling and their photos. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to swirlydoos.com if you're not already a subscriber, and like us on Facebook. Go ahead and check out our forums online. We have a fabulous community with lots of fun, and we love to share all of our projects. If you make a project using one of the kits, be sure to show us on the forums and put it in the Facebook gallery. Thanks for watching.